When we remove the Lord's name, Emmanuel, from the name of his church, we inadvertently remove him as the central focus of our worship and our lives.
Travis, man, good soul. So, yeah, my day is biting the big one with the cyber attack today. So, I checked the church news. Nothing yet. When we get to 5 o'clock, I'll take a trip and see what we got. So stay tuned. It could be bombshells. Anybody notice that we've broken the Dow Jones Industrial Average number? Yep. They're going to be pumping it up. And January is when they have to decide on the fate of the economy, the budget for the year, as it got extended. And so already the news is saying that Dems are already going to cave to keep the economy going. Because MAGA, who were supposed to be removed from office because of the 14th Amendment, Section 3, and didn't, are now running the country. And so the deep state Dems are going to cave to the border request to lock down the border and put babies in cages and torture people and murder them and then sex traffic them and blame it on the deep state Dems because Biden's in charge. And so, yeah, all this other stuff is all a distraction. It's to make you think that America still has hope. That, if we can just get to the election, we can put in Biden again. Keep out Trump. That's all show. It's all for show. The big deal is the little stuff that you don't realize is happening because our government has failed. It has collapsed. The 14th Amendment has been overthrown because the First Amendment was overthrown. When the Constitution is not being followed, it's not America anymore. And anybody who tries to tell you that we still have a chance, our government is standing strong as it's punishing Trump. No. It has fallen. Because women have rights, but no longer. Now a fetus has rights over a woman. Fetus who is not born has rights over a woman who's born. And those who are seditious conspirators, we were led to believe that, it will stop. They didn't go through with it. The election was certified. And yet, they're still in office. They're still holding us hostage. Time after time after time after time after time after time. Making their threats. Getting more laws changed little by little. Because America has fallen. And so that's what all this other distractions are. It's just chipping away at what has already fallen. And so the abortion pill wouldn't surprise me at all if the Supreme Court said no, but if they say yes, it's going to cause confusion because the states said no abortion. And so the states are then going to retaliate and make laws to ban abortion pills. It's all just for show. This is what authoritarians do. They keep you gaslit, keep you with the false hope that maybe something will happen. But in reality, people are suffering, people are dying. And those in charge are laughing it up. So that's the sad reality. Because the Dow has nothing to do with the economy, in case you didn't know that. That's corporations' little gambling casino that they themselves rig. And so just like the Bitcoin guy who's going to prison, that's what the big corporations have for their Bitcoin. And they sucker in those who are able to put in, thousands of dollars, maybe even millions. Because the stock market is for the multi-billionaires. Anybody else is petty change, boosting up their stock, and they sell high and buy low, and screw over the little guy. Because they don't have the stocks. They have to buy into the stocks. It's all gone. America has fallen. So, Mormons don't want to get it. Two of my recent popular videos, involve what appears to be insults to Mormons, as Mormons think that they don't deserve to be insulted. How dare you! And so the dark side of Mormonism, 597 views as shown on the video page. It's potentially a little more than that, but previously, as this was the big thing yesterday, dealing with unintelligent Mormonism, 1.6K, and now YouTube has frozen it. And then Unsustained Sun, 2.4K, now frozen. Ask a question, special message. What was the other one? It was a hairy bear. It was a scary bear. LDS Church President Russell Marion Nelson justifies incest, child bride, polygamy, 1.2K. Mass excommunication of non-participating Mormons, 2.2K. I think I missed it. Not finding it. Ignorant about Mormonism, critics become very popular, 2K. Yeah, there it is. And so Mormons, when they see that, they're instantly offended. But they don't study Mormonism. They know this. They get mad at me because they know this. Because they're guilty. They know, they read, ponder, pray, and get a feeling. It's the lazy man's way of being stupid. You got conned. It shows how you're illiterate of Moroni chapter 10 verses 3 through 5 and taking it out of context, especially because Alma chapter 32 starting in verse 28 is our actual doctrine on faith. And notice how it says dormant. But read, ponder, pray, and get a feeling, and you have no clue what that means. It's like you've never planted a seed in your whole entire life. Never produced fruit. You've never bought fruit at the grocery store. You look at the bananas and you go, huh, those come from cows? Cows are in the Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon is true. And you don't get it. You read in the learning of the Jews, 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2. And you instantly turn into an anti-Semite. Jesus. Christian. And then you get mad at me for calling you an anti-Semite. You don't understand. Why am I picking on your religious freedom beliefs? Why am I not picking on my church? As again, you demonstrate your hatred because of what the church did to you. This emotional response out of ignorance because of the false interpretations is exposing you as the bad guys of the story. You don't care to learn. And so, yeah, guilty taketh the truth to be hard. Is that the words? Guilty truth. 1 Nephi 16:2. And so, yeah, Nephi had given a little family home evening lesson to his family, and at the end of speaking, he says, they say, Laman and Lemuel tell him, "Thou hast declared unto us hard things, more than we are able to bear." Do you not liken the scriptures unto yourselves, Mormons, when you put a hate comment? Because that's what this video is about, your hate comments. And it came to pass that I said unto them, I knew that I had spoken hard things against the wicked. Are you wicked? Yes, because you took it personally. You were offended. You were upset with me. I see the thumbs down. Only the righteous are the ones who know that I'm not talking to them. I am talking to the Mormons who are wicked. And so if you fall into that, it was a trap, because I knew you don't actually study your Book of Mormon. So let's whip through as many of these as we can. See if we can only have Jasmine remaining. Brigham Young causes Mormons to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I just barely put that one up, Mark. All Mormons, morons, which means unintelligent, and thus is appropriate. It is wrong for YouTube to flag this, and they didn't, so he is correct. And there is even a moron in the Book of Mormon. It's the land, and thus it was founded by a man named Moron, who founded the land called Moron. That's the way the Book of Mormon is. And critics criticize it as if it's made up, and call it unintelligent for that purpose. But they don't understand the learning of the Jews either. It's not just Mormons who are unintelligent of their own scriptures and religion. Critics who were Mormon, likewise. It was Brigham Young's trap, and critics fell in it. Are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yep. Because they're illiterate, they're unintelligent because they use the wrong Book of Mormon precept, which is also in the Bible, of read, ponder, pray, and get the right feeling, instead of getting an inspiration. You can call it revelation if you want. Getting an idea and producing the results of that idea in the flesh. Producing the fruit of a seed. Liken the word unto a seed. If you don't produce the results, the fruit, it's dead. It's worthless. It means nothing. So are your feelings associated with it. But Mormons are feeling guilty, and so they lash out at me. Alright, there's a Jasmine one. She's studying the Doctrine and Covenants. She's going to be an expert now. And so there's a question in there. I'll have to come back to that for you, Jasmine. C.L. Baird is a subscriber who allows himself to be known to me. Families Together Forever. That's an awesome little set I did, wasn't it? Yep. Rescue Garna. He's asking, what do they do with all the tithes? They hoard it. Nelson said in his first presidency response to the whistleblower in December 2019, "We hoard it. We're following the parable of the talents." The parable of the talents is that the Lord had given talents to his servants. 1 and 2 and 5, or 3 and 5, whatever the number, doesn't matter. That's not the point of the parable. They were supposed to invest the money in town to produce more money. And so when the Lord came back for the second coming, he had a little personal priesthood interview with each of them as to how their stewardship was. And so the one with the, we'll say 5, he had obtained an extra 5. "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Go get some more." And then the 2 or 3, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Go on and get some more." And then the person who had 1, he hid it, buried it in the ground. He was protecting it. He didn't want to lose it because he knew that the Lord was a harsh taskmaster, having him yoked to Jesus. He would whip him and beat him and smite him down and burn him. And so he hid it. Didn't want to lose it. And so he was a slothful servant. And yeah, he was whipped, beaten, and cast out into outer darkness. And it was the 1 was given to the guy who had 10 now, so that he now had 11. And so that's what the church said they're doing. Nelson, that's what he said. Parable of the talents. We do this with all sources of income, not just tithing. They have lots of different sources of income. You do know this, right? There's more than just tithing, right? Even if you looked on a tithing slip, you'd see other sources of income that you can donate to, whereas tithing is required. That's why it's called a tithing slip, because it's about tithing. But the others are optional for you to donate to. And so the church has been exposed, not just from the whistleblower, but also from Australia, that adds some extra stuff of what the church is doing. So the church gets money from one particular source of income. It's supposed to be used for something, and so we'll say the temple fund. People give to the temple fund. The church then takes 10% and launders it into an LLC corporation, like Tithing for Ensign Peak Advisors. They then invest that into the stock market, and it gains interest with the money that they don't invest in the stock market, and they invest it into other things as well. And so there's SEC violations for every single source of income, not just tithing, earlier this year. The SEC did not check those. The SEC only checked the $32 billion that the church had received back in 2018. And so then the church has the 90% remaining. They spend as little as they can on what it's supposed to be used for, in this particular hypothetical, for temples. And you'll notice that, yeah, they are going hog wild on investing in temples. St. George was just dedicated, for example. The Orem Temple was toured by the leader of 100 million Muslims. And so there is an investment that's going on here that's different from the vending machines that they've got all over the world now. Thailand getting the vending machines, and Philippines getting the vending machines, etc. These are investments for the land ownership. Are you familiar with what China is doing in America? China is trying to buy up all of America, trying to steal America out from under us. Utah caught on to it first, and because the church needs to buy up the land, not China. So Utah put a stop and banned China from buying up land in Utah now, so that only the church can buy up the land in Utah. This is because of America has been overthrown. It is now descending into chaos as the MAGA are little by little, piece by piece, destroying our government. And the deep state Dems are giving us false hope and causing us to fear and panic over the distractions of MAGA that we don't realize the danger we're already in. And so once America crosses the threshold where Americans now realize what has happened, as I've already realized it, but when they realize what I now realize, America will rise up in chaos and civil war. That's all they can stand. They can't stand no more. But our government already has in place the military force to beat us down if we dare rise up. And so under those conditions, the church is trying plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G to try to get their kingdom back, the land. They already know that it was prophesied that Jesus is going to destroy the governments, and they're going to give it to the church. And so when you have a situation where the whole world descends into war, everybody's fighting, and that's the prophecy. Neighbor against neighbor, family member against family member, state against state, nation against nation. The whole world will descend into chaos and war, bloodshed. The extermination event, where it'll end up being Coriantumr and Shiz in the final battle. Which nation will be Coriantumr from? Which nation will Shiz be from? I'm already Ether. I'm already in my cave, recording the history of the utter destruction of the Mormons and the human race. You're then going to see the church rise up and claim ownership of the land. They've got the receipts, they've got the titles for the land. Under those conditions, the people who no longer have a government to lead them, the church will step in and say, hey, we own this land, we have the money, we have the power. Convert or die. And of course they won't say that. They'll come up with happy smiling faces. Oh, you're a survivor, that's awesome. Hey, come and work for us and we'll make you prosper. We'll rebuild society and establish, and you become a slave to the church. Well, they placate you with lies. And so the remaining money that they don't spend, and it's more for the others than for the temple fund, obviously, because the temple fund is purposely for investing in something tangible for the benefit of the millennial Zion and the kingdom. But the vending machines, no, that's something where they'll do a token thing from the money you give them, and the money goes right back to the church anyway. 100% of the donations go to the charity you choose. You get to choose which church fund you donate to. There was like only 3 or 4 when I went over that. And so the rest of the money gets laundered into an offshore bank account, thanks to the Australian press for identifying this. And so with tithing, for example, after paying the priestcraft, Section 119, after giving the 10% to Ensign Peak Advisors, after paying off the priesthood, the apostles, with Kiernan being the new priestcrafter, the rest of it gets laundered into an offshore bank account. And so with the 100 billion, which was actually 200 billion, I think by the time 2019, yeah, that's just the 10%. You're talking $2 trillion for the actual main source of tithing. And according to Irene's paycheck stub, there's a humongous amount of leftovers in that fund that they've laundered into offshore bank accounts. And if you're unfamiliar with the practice in society, the church justifies all this by saying, well, we're legally allowed to do this. Because when the church says that they donate to a charitable organization, I thought the church was, it's to the corporation. It is not to the people. This is the big lie of charities these days. And now that it's Christmas time, you're seeing a whole bunch of advertisements for people who this is their money for the whole next year. You're paying their paychecks, their lifestyles for next year. Because this is the big event for Christmas. See these poor kids that are black and they must be coming from Africa. Donate to us and we'll make sure they get fed. You know, all these poor little puppies, oh, they're so sad. They need to be taken care of. Donate to us. It's the government's responsibility, not our responsibility to pay more than taxes that we pay for the government to take care of these situations. But they pull on your heartstrings and try to get you to feel guilty. And it's almost church news time. And so, yeah, that's the main source of their income. That's their job, panhandling. They're just professional panhandlers. And they do well at their job. You know, there are some, like the Utah Food Bank, and I'm sure the other food banks in the nation, actually do buy food for the homeless. But they got to pay their employees, who are not volunteers, and especially the person running it, they got to get paid. They have a high turnover here in Utah, which means they're not getting paid a lot. But whoever is in charge of it is the one who definitely makes sure they get paid, so that they don't have to get another job on the side to maintain a living. And so when the church donated of other people's money, of which it's the same process, that was a source of income, and then they 10% to an LLC company, and the leftovers laundered into an offshore bank account. 3.3 was given to Gail Miller, who was in charge of the shelters here in Utah. And it was for her paycheck and the corporate board, their paychecks. And there was a Romney on the corporate board, and there were other Mormons on the corporate board. It was for their paychecks. And there are people that have to work at the shelters. And so they have to get paid. And so that money is supposed to go to paying their salaries. But having been there, yeah, they were always short-staffed. They were skimping on the employees by not having enough. And especially when we were forced to have overflow, which was a complete safety hazard, as well as an environmental hazard and an inhumane hazard, as the shelters were being purposely used as a safe space to do drugs, which caused everybody to get sick. Everybody. And people were dying. None of the money went to the homeless. Not a single penny. And so these corporations do the same manner that the church does. It's all about promoting the corporation, not giving charity. We never saw a single penny. Only people who donate actual goods, not money. Those goods were used by the homeless or given to the homeless. That's it. That's all. Money is never given to the homeless. And to get a person into a starter apartment for the first time, there's a lot of extra money. So it's a big difference. It was actually February. I just had it renewed for next year. There's a big difference. To get into this building, it required that the liaison for the police at the shelter kept her word to me and paid for it all. She said she was going to do it. The caseworker manager also promised, and then, oh, by the way, the money ran out, so there's no money for you. But yeah, there's thousands of dollars that is required to get into an apartment. So there's no way any homeless person is going to get into an apartment ever, unless somebody pays for them. But this year, no, it's just a simple thing of I signed the lease, I'm approved, and so I just continue on being able to pay each month's rent. No extra money is required. I already had the furnishings and the food as part of my regular monthly expenses. And so a big difference. And nobody wants to acknowledge this. And people know it. My parents knew it, even though they were always buying new suburban homes. It requires a lot of extra money to move and to get into a place and the building of it and do landscaping and having a higher quality of life with vehicles rather than using UTA and the insurance that's required, homeowners insurance and the property tax and all of that extra stuff. And water softeners, all those little things that add up trying to get into a bigger lifestyle. Whereas for me, all of that extra stuff is not a part of my expenditures. I'm in a lower quality of living, per se. And so that's what the church does with their money. They don't give to anybody. They give to corporations as a part of a business deal. And when Mormons are involved in these corporations, they're already ordered to pay tithing back to the church. So Gail Miller, yeah, she gave $330,000 back to the church as tithing. Along with the extra money, she also donated for the Joseph Smith Papers project, because the church wasn't going to spend a single penny of their own on those papers. It was Gail Miller and Gail Miller alone that funded that operation. And the church still will not make the necessary changes that are required in the Joseph Smith Papers. So Mormons think everything's fine, nothing to see here, move along. Alrighty, and so he also says, I know a participant, good for you, you're using the new word for Mormons, participants rather than members, that has tithed faithfully every week in pretty high amounts. Yeah, he's most likely going to be put on in the general 70. Like Huntsman was. Alright, let's check the church news here. Assuming I'll be left alone to do so. Nope, still the same stuff at the top. And oh, no, we do have one. Latter-day Saint cowboy steps away from professional bull riding to serve a mission. The church must be true then. He's sacrificing his life to go around the world and lie to people. And be an anti-Semite. And so, dealing with unintelligent Mormons, as by definition a participant of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, are anti-Semitic. They are haters. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a hate group. They're anti-Semitic. This is why they're also racist, sexist, bigoted, neglect the poor, etc., etc., etc. Book of Mormon, in the learning of the Jews, which means when you see Jesus, he's not Christian. He's a type and shadow of the Jewish Christ of the future. And I refer you to 2 Nephi chapter 3, verse 5. He comes after Joseph Smith. And so, Joe Marpolinio, another anti-Mormon propaganda. Beam him out. You're the anti-Mormon. You're an anti-Semite. And you're putting a hate comment here. And you don't realize it because you're illiterate and unintelligent. You fell into the trap of Brigham Young. And so he has chosen to cut himself off. Do you know where that comes from? Joseph Smith History, 1838, verse 40. Dealing with unintelligent Mormons. This was edited. Ooh, he had some typing errors. Davis. The title of this video, Dealing with Unintelligent Mormons, is quite ironic. Is it? I think we're about to find out how ironic it is. FYI, new apostles are sustained by the first presidency and quorum of the 12 apostles in a private meeting. You missed the previous videos. That's not the point. It's that there is no precedent for Karen to need to be emergency put in as an apostle, to be ordained, to start going right now, rather than the traditional Jesus-ordered practice of waiting till conference in April. You missed that because you're an unintelligent Mormon. And then ordained before being presented to, never, always sustained first, then ordained. Because somebody might oppose. It's not like your local call, oh dear God. Like local callings are based on the pattern of the prophets. Dear God, how long have you been a Mormon? Let's see if we can find out. You don't show a picture. So maybe you subscribe to something here. Joe Biden still claiming victory. Oh, you're a Trumpist. MAGA. And then, yeah, there's is it Candace Owen? Fact checkers. Biden and Hunter email trouble. Dear God, what a loser. This is a guy who's not living in reality, who's being distracted about how his rights are gone now. And MAGA doesn't see it, and deep state Dems don't see it. They just know that there are certain issues that they're complaining about, but DNC lies, with the lush. Is that for drunk? She's got that flag behind her, and she's an anti-American. Dear God. Loser! Move along! And Mark, you're supposed to sing along to the other song, not the danger zone. Women have danger zones. Highway to her danger zone. Families Can Be Together Forever Again by Stanford this time. TV Invention. Philo Farnsworth. Rigby, I think. Yeah, Rigby, Idaho. It's right there on the sign. The Two Brothers. Mormons. Dealing with Unintelligent Mormons. Linda, your perspective is so satanic. Can't believe a word you say, 'cause you're satanic. What is Lucifer's doctrine? You forgot? You don't know? You don't study? You don't go to the temple? Let's find out who you are, Linda, before I ban you. You're nobody. You've got nothing. You've got one subscriber, and that has to be yourself, because YouTube forces you to subscribe to yourself. And you have no content. You have no picture. You're a nobody. And you are the satanic worshiper. Because Lucifer's the head of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's his baby name meaning. Russell Marion. Red Star. Mars. Husband of Venus. Venus. Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of Venus? Inverted pentagram. The husband, thus the bridegroom of Venus, the inverted pentagram. Lucifer. And all Mormons just don't care. Prophecy has been fulfilled from the Book of Mormon. And Mormons don't care. 2024. LDS Temple endowment to include virgin rape of Mary, mother of Jesus. Travis, all caps. What is so funny? Colin House. Well, that was your one and only video, and you'll never see another one unless you see my videos not signed in. You're gone. Alright. 2024 LDS Temple Endowment. Stanford, your analysis and instruction of Tamar's story was beautiful. I had interpreted it in part as a type of Torah version of the prodigal son parable. Judah came to himself, repented. No, he didn't. He never repented. His oldest son married Tamar. He died. And so, as the law required, a brother needed to step in and marry her, to take care of her. And he masturbated and died. And so Judah refused to have the third son marry her, as he used the excuse that, well, he's too young, let's wait until he's older. And then when he was older, Judah said, he just ignored Tamar. And so Tamar went to go have a talk with him. Met him on the highway, and she was dressed in a robe rather than in her regular clothing. And so he didn't recognize her, and he wanted sex. He had sex with her. He paid her for sex. She got pregnant, and Judah had found out that she had gotten pregnant, and came to find out where she was, and was saying, "Where's this whore? Where's the prostitute? We don't know any prostitute. What are you talking about?" Finally found her, and was wanting to burn her, to cover it all up. "You have deceived me." And then so she reminded him of his legal obligation to her, and showed the receipts of the payment that he had given her. And then, and he abandoned her. The text says he knew her no more after that. He abandoned her with the baby. He'd never repented. And so then Pharez, the oldest son, who usurped the birthright blessing from I can't remember the name now. The other brother went on to be the ancestor of King David, in another story by another Jewish author who used that story. So, yeah, he never repented, never changed the course of his life. You helped me see Tamar as a different story. What a story, what a story, what a story. Thanks, man, for your marvelous teaching. I really meant that. Marvelous teaching. No other place, no other person, no other book is teaching what you're teaching. And I have studied and read aggressively all my life. You share singular, clear Jewish Egyptian interpretation. I'm truly grateful for you. That's all you have to do, Mormons. That's all you have to do. It's not complicated to study. And so, yes, because the church isn't doing their manuals and commentaries correctly, you are being taught incorrectly. And so, yes, they do need to be corrected so that you have a foundation to learn how to learn. And I've seen Stanford demonstrate that. Stanford demonstrate that as he provides other insights with his continuing study of the scriptures. All right. LDS Church Missionary is not taking no for an answer. Joe Everett I used a different picture of Jasmine today. I think it was today. Joe Everett says, when someone claims he is the foremost authority of something, they most likely are not. Yeah, Jesus, he wasn't the foremost authority when he went to the temple and told the Jews in attendance there that he is the Christ. Dumbass. And if I remember correctly, McConkie died in the 80s. So I'm not sure how he is changing anything. Do not listen to this guy. Oh, you're not even talking to me. Oops, he's trying to rally a mob against me. Bruce R. McConkie did the chapter headings. The chapter headings were all finished with the 1981 edition of the Triple. Bruce R. McConkie did that. The verse of Doctrine and Covenants, the little explanations for each verse in the Doctrine and Covenants is Bruce R. McConkie. The majority of the footnotes, Bruce R. McConkie. I know what Bruce R. McConkie was involved with. I was involved in the revision of that project in the early 2000s. You can't gaslight me on this, dumbass. And so, yeah, you never even bothered to look me up and study me, to figure out what I do know, who I am. Why would I be saying such things? You instead rush to judgment, and you're a nobody. So, yeah. What does that make you when you're a false accuser? Dealing with unintelligent Mormonism, Paul Rogers. Why is it that you can leave the church but not leave the church alone? I left the church won't leave me alone. Why aren't you leaving me alone, Paul? I've left the church, why can't you leave me alone? This is the dumbest, hateful comment that is so common all these years. You don't think. You immediately begin to type on your phone. You don't think what you just did. You exposed yourself as a dumbass. Unintelligent. And what you're getting that from, you've taken it out of context and not understood it. It's Joseph Smith talking about pricks. Yeah, verse 38 of section 121. What's the context for section 121? Liberty Jail. Joseph Smith was framed by the Danites, who caused an election fraud at their secret headquarters in Adam-on-Diamond, and the Mormon War, of which the coup of the church occurred. Brigham Young took over the church. Leader of the Danites. And Joseph Smith was locked up. And this was a big one. This was many months on this. Joseph Smith was falsely accused as a seditious conspirator when it was the Danites. You're not catching on to the parallels. Election fraud, seditious conspiracy, civil war, coup. You don't see the pattern? And so Joseph Smith is rotten in hell. church usurped from under him. It's now being called a different name. It's now Christian, with him locked up. Mormons are being threatened and murdered and chased out of the church. And so, amen to the authority of Brigham Young. Many are called, but few are chosen. And so after amen to the authority, behold, ere he is aware, he is left unto himself to kick against the prick, to persecute the saints, and to fight against the Jewish Christ. Do you see how he used the Danite threat to Joseph's church to turn on me as the Danites did to Joseph? The Danites justified Joseph as having amened his priesthood. Joseph was turning against the Christ, so the name had to be changed, the religion had to be changed, the Book of Mormon had to be changed to another testament of Jesus Christ, because Joseph Smith was fallen. He is an apostate. He needs to be replaced. And not a single Mormon caught that. New LDS Apostle takes a sick day, and Oaths Covenant's death to Jews. Paula. I always got the feeling that the apostles were linked to the Illuminati. You don't need a feeling, you could have done your research. Like I did. That's why MAGA, likewise, originates with that same Illuminati group way back 9/11, 1826, the start of the Book of Mormon. In Canandaigua, New York, where Joseph Smith Sr. was the Master Mason. The Illuminati formed on the 1st of May, 1776, in Germany, with their 5 band of merry men, had a pattern of infiltration, gaining numbers of other infiltrators, rising up, becoming popular, getting into positions of authority, and then taking it over with a destruction. So that's exactly what happened to Joseph. Brigham and Heber. Heber found out that they were responsible for 9/11, 1826, ruining their plans for America. They were a part of the Scottish Rites Freemasonry, not the York Rites Freemasonry. The Illuminati had infiltrated the Scottish Rites, and that's how William Morgan knew about this plot and was getting help from Joseph Smith Sr. to write the book to warn America. And Heber C. Kimball and Brigham Young, after they joined in 1832, went right back to their hometowns, converted the other disgruntled Scottish Rites who wanted revenge, who wanted to murder the people responsible, who wanted to destroy their plot to overthrow the government, so that nobody would know about it when the day came. And so, yes, those Danites became the missionaries who went around converting people to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. and then Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. And so the Danites were constantly fighting their neighbors, robbing, stealing, murdering, raping, plundering, burning, and getting Joseph in trouble for it. They were the ones practicing polygamy, having sex with other men's wives in secret, claiming it was Joseph who approved it all. And so when Oliver Cowdery threw out the accusation that it was improper for the 15-year-old housemaid to be in the house alone with Joseph, the Danites picked up and ran with that and said, yeah, that Joseph was polygamously married to her, and he ordered us to practice polygamy in secret because it's illegal. And so you have to have sex with us. And we have John C. Bennett here, who's a physician. He can give you a dangerous substance to cause an abortion for you. And so, yeah, all the things they were doing was for the sole purpose of destroying Joseph Smith's church, his reputation, to just have it completely destroyed. And they could never get Joseph completely locked up. And so then they decided, hey, this has been working so well in converting people to the church, believing it's Christian. And so Brigham kept the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith selective writings, many of them edited, and then threw in some forged documents that violated the Book of Mormon, and has been running this scam for 200 years. All for the purpose of destroying the church, destroying Joseph Smith, destroying the Book of Mormon, and starting their religion under Lucifer, Albert Pike, his letter to Giuseppe Mazzini. The religion that he's talking about is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with the inverted pentagrams all over the place. The Nauvoo Temple, dedicated on the 1st of May, 1846, the anniversary of the Illuminati, with inverted pentagrams now put on it. And so it is an established fact that they are from the Illuminati. And she says, or as she calls them, the Mormon Mafia. That's a different Mormon. That was a Mormon in the early 1900s who worked for Howard Hughes in Southern California and formed the Mormon Mafia. That's different than the criminal mafia of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But yeah, they are a mafia crime family organization of Danites. Not to be confused with the Mormon, who followed the same practice as the church and became the Mormon Mafia. And so the Kingstons and the Allreds and all those other branch-offs from Brigham Young, yeah, they're militant. They're criminal because of Brigham Young and his criminal organization. Tithing, Section 119, forged document, violation of the Book of Mormon. That's Brigham's. That's priestcraft. That's the extortion threat. Pay up or we break your kneecaps. And he had the death penalty in this temple. Sending me love and light. How sweet. 6 hearts. And she's probably married. Has grandkids. She has nothing. No picture. We're at 1 hour. Let's try to get through a few more here. Studying Mormonism, Stanford, S&B Skull and Bones, member noted. Here's a third-party publicly published data on Hale's Skull and Bones membership. Forgot the link. It's included in his marriage announcement. I may have sent this to you previously. Nope. I don't see you previously listed. Send it again. So yeah, but Karen, he was definitely being thrown in our face as he's Saudi Arabian instead of the skull and bones of the University of Utah. Alright, Mr. Day Yum Yum with a goat or a bear leaning on a log. Dealing with unintelligent Mormonism. Don't you have anything better to do with your time? Saving your sorry ass? Yeah, I've got nothing better to do. I have no interest in going back to women's fashion. Dear God. The blackout you had may not have been a seizure. No, it's not a seizure. It's narcolepsy. It's not a seizure. It may have been a kind of warning from the other side. Oh, great, he's sending me a death threat. Good for you. As Gordon B. Hinckley says, can't leave it alone. Is that referring to the other woman who got banned? Who can't leave me alone? You're not leaving me alone, are you? Don't worry about Mormonites. No, you don't even use the right word. Jesus is angry with you. He's going to burn you. Just so unintelligent. Dear God. And what's the difference between LSD and LDS? Your answer will determine your credibility. Seriously? Are you not a Mormon after all? God. Dude, you gotta make up your mind on whose side of the fence you're on. Quit being a fence sitter, Mr. Yum Yum. Dealing with unintelligent Mormonism. Lynn Cannon. Sorry to see, dear brother, that you are on the wrong side of the truth. Really? Again, let's read it for you, Lynn, before you get banned. So what's the truth about the Book of Mormon? 1 Nephi, chapter 1, verse 2. Yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews and the language of the Egyptians. So are the Jews Christian? Do they believe in Jesus? You're an anti-Semite, Len. You are a hater. You are on the wrong side, and there is no truth on your side. You are in darkness. And then Jasmine, and two more from Lindsay Johnson. Alright. Dark side of Mormonism. Love, love, love your truth. It's not my truth. Don't pull that on me. And insights. We were born and raised in 1 trillion Mormon cult of greedy, uncharitable, racist, homophobic, plagiarizing, pedophile, protecting, polygamist Q15. First of all, it's several trillion, at least. But Q15, what the hell is that? Con artist, hypocrites for over half a century. Try 200 years, one Brigham Young. Not just 50 years. Although, yeah, we are 50. No more. Beware the wrath of God, dinosaur Q15. What the? Dear God, what the hell is Q15? Is that QAnon? His 15th law? I do not want truthers on my channel. Do not think you're praising me and that I will accept you in. You are a snake. I know what you are. You will not be allowed. Jesus weeps. Jesus doesn't exist. See, you're trying to butter me up by saying, love, love, love your truth and insights. Jesus weeps. You didn't hear a single thing I said in any of the videos, because now you're on Dealing with Unintelligent Mormons, and you quoted it. You're a spam. You're not a legitimate person. So you're gone. You will not flatter, pacify, and deceive me. That's Lucifer's tactics, Lindsay. Shame on you. Alright, and so we got that's all Jasmine now. 1, 2, 3, 4 Jasmines. One of which was 2 hours ago. About the Doctrine and Covenants. One last check for the church. It's not likely, but just in case. Because they've all gone home for the day. It's only breaking news will get put in. Oh, they did throw in one more. Church and Save the Children work together to help babies thrive. Yeah, again, it's like all these others that they're doing lately for Christmas time. Church didn't do anything. If anything was given to save the children, it was because Save the Children is run by a Mormon, or it's a business deal, but whatever the church gave Save the Children was to the corporation, not to what the Save the Children are doing to help babies thrive. And whether or not Save the Children actually gives to the babies, or they just do a token couple of things to do promos on TV, help give more money to us to have my lifestyle paid for the next year. I don't know. I don't care. I cannot trust the church with anything that they endorse. And so the United Way, UNICEF, I can't endorse them now because the church has gotten a hold of them and tainted them. The Red Cross, can't trust them anymore either because they've been tainted by the church. And so, yeah, this is all just a fraud trying to make Mormons feel that this is the right church when the truth is right there at the beginning of the Book of Mormon. Learning of the Jews. That's all you need to know. They are lying to you. They are a fraud. They are a con. They are stealing your money. All because of 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2. It's that simple. It's not complicated. So every single Mormon who attacks me are denying the Book of Mormon and are anti-Semites. They are haters. So, alright. Let's check and see my emails. Maybe there's something I can throw in from here. Who knows? It looks like I'm being allowed to use the internet. Well, Jasmine's there. Missionaries. And then the filing of my complaint was responded to, and they'll probably blame me. So, yeah. Oh, is there a picture? There's a JPEG picture. Let's see what the picture is. The missionaries. You show who the missionaries are. And I'll just give you the last names. Rumsey and Downs. They're from Utah. You know them? They're anti-Semites for Jesus. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, NASA. Thank you, NASA. Thank you, NASA. Dante's Peak.